Hello, everybody. It's Matthew again. I want to give a home theater update. I've upgraded a component of my home theater, and if you watch my other videos, you can see some of the things I did, such as the OLED up there and the speaker system and layout to that 7.1 Atmos. But what I want to talk about today is a component that I upgraded of that 7.1, and that's purely because of one of the trends that's happening in sound mixing today, which, well, let's get into it. So I know you may have noticed, and there have been many forums, there have been articles written about it with regard to particularly Game of Thrones was an egregious party in this, and that is in regard to the dialogue. So a lot of the dialogue in modern movies is really set at a whisper tone. So means you have to turn the volume up to hear dialogue. And then immediately after that, there's some big set piece or some battle or an explosion, which takes the volume all the way up. And then boom, you have to adjust your volume. So you find yourself turning it up so that you can hear the actor speak on the screen, and then turning it down immediately so that you don't blow out your eardrums when the set piece comes up. So that's I've listened to a podcast lately where they talk about this. It's been a problem for a while. I was listening also or reading an article in regard to that. And one of the issues is that because of the advancements in sound mixing, that we can add so much texture to the background and to the ambience sound that flows into your surround sounds, that directors are asking for more sound. One of the things they're not emphasizing nowadays is dialogue. So when it comes to dialogue, there's another trend toward making it more intimate, because when you speak at that low tone, when they're speaking just above a whisper, it gives the audience the effect that they're listening in on something that is forbidden, or they're listening into a point of view or private conversation. All of those things are effective. The problem is that they can mic these things, or we can still hear them, but still give it the same effect. We've been making movies for a long time now, almost 100 or over 100 years, and I believe we can do that, do better. So how do the home theater watcher combat this? And again, it's not just television. So most egregious, again, I mentioned, was the Game of Thrones, but you can look at some of the other shows on television, some of the premium shows, more premium shows that are out there where the dialogue is above a whisper tone. I will say that with the House of Dragons prequel to the Game of Thrones, the sound mixing has improved, but it still is the same quality or same thing. It's better. You can hear the dialogue a lot better, but the two phenomenon that were pervasive with the Game of Thrones that then permeated into other shows is the whisper and also the low lighting, because they wanted to have authentic lighting. And so the problem with that is a lot of the detail, textural detail, visual textural details inside a lot of the shows, particularly if you look at the episode like The Long Night, was completely dark and lit only by candles. And so a lot of folks' televisions struggled to pick up a lot of background details and could barely even see faces. So unless you had an OLED television, which I happen to have, a lot of that detail was lost. So that happened recently, watching a recent episode of the House of Dragons show, where a lot of the action took place in castles, and again, same lighting effects. And because of that, I had to turn my lights out so that the OLED could brighten up the details in the background and such. So a lot to say about why I'm here today. So one of the other pieces is that you find that the center channel does a lot of the heavy lifting during modern, more than you think. It's not just dialogue that's coming through the center channel. Some of the ambient sounds are coming through. The ambient sounds are coming through the center channel, particularly sounds that aren't directional. So What I have done in doing research is I upgraded my center channel. So this is my old center channel. You remember my Cerwin-Vega was part of my system, and I've had this system for a long time. But if you can see over my shoulder here, I upgraded to a new center channel by Polk Audio, which matches my tower speakers. And I'll show you here in a second by taking off the grill why I upgraded. But one of the big reasons is, again, finding a system, finding a component that was able to do more of the heavy lifting when it came to dialogue, so that I didn't have to constantly remix or my own sound system to adjust for it. So even though this bad boy, and again, I still have it. It's going to go into perhaps a different room or maybe one of the other houses, but this is something where it'll be around. But for this particular application in this room, I felt that it was time to upgrade to more of a bigger center channel. Now, this center channel, unlike this one, which has, as you can see, kind of have the see-through grills. It has the two speakers and the two mid-tone speakers in there, and also has a tweeter in the middle. This one actually has four, and I can snap this grill off while I'm talking. And it has four mid-tones that are 2-inch, as opposed to the 3 inches that are in that one. And come on, a tweeter in the middle. So what that does is that actually allows you to spread your sound out a lot more and to have more individualized work with those speakers. They have some that even have 6. So this type of center channel actually, if it looks like it, it looks almost like a sound bar. And that's on purpose, because sound bars actually, because they are a single source, they handle dialogue a lot better than the typical than surround sound, a typical center channel. That's what I'm trying to get out. They handle sound better than a typical center channel. So what's happening is that you have center channels, higher end center channels that go more to that sound bar type of feel. One of the other things that I didn't mention is it also had 2 holes on the side. Those are ports. So that means that not only can you get more sound from the 4 speakers as opposed to the 2, but now you also have the ability to get a deeper, richer sound because it's ported, and gives the sound a lot more time to resonate by passing that sound out through those ports. So those are the benefits of this center channel. Now, changing that to center channel did mean that I had to do some work. That meant that I had to retune my system for the center channel, because it does do more of the heavy lifting from the center. It is able to handle higher input, which meant that let me say that again. It allows me to, this center channel can handle higher input, but do so in a way that is more, that has more clarity, and that is able to to blend more into the sound bubble, as opposed to something that would overwhelm the bubble with distortion or something. So I retuned the system, and I'll tell you, one of the ways to do that is some stereos actually have a system tuning in them. Like this one has a little microphone so that you plug in and put this. It has a long cord. You plug it into your amplifier. You take it to wherever your listening position is, and from that listening position, it'll tune automatically. And then you can also tweak it from there. So that's always a good start if you have that capability, and then you can always further refine the sound. I found that listening to music is helpful in the system. So I may turn on something like Troubadour from Carmen, the opera. I'll turn on Gershwin, American in Paris, or even Rhapsody in Blue, because it's very orchestral, but it's jazz oriented. I'll turn on, there's a live version, one of my favorite, of by the Eagles. It's called Hotel California, but it's a live version, and It has very, very high harmonics and very low resonating bass. So it's a great, but it's a snappy bass, not a distorted bass like you get in R&B or in hip hop. I'll turn on some R&B and hip hop just to, because that's most of the music that I listen to make sure that I'm not muddying the vocals while I'm punching out that hard bass. So once you get that variety of music in, it helps you to formulate a great sound that is worthy of your room. The other thing, but keeping in mind before I move on, is that music is more stereophonic, meaning that it's harder to have discrete channels when it comes to music unless it's been mixed that way. So it gives you more of a baseline when you set your music. Then the other piece I would recommend highly is there are certain movies that I use as my reference movies. So I can tell you at the 28-minute and 30-second mark of the original Doctor Strange movie, it has the best soundscape, the best mix I've ever heard. And particularly if you are looking at a surround sound, because it invokes the surrounds, it invokes the front, it invokes the side if you have 7.1, the center channel, the subwoofer. It takes the sound all the way around the room. So you can really match in and make sure that everything's well blended so that you have a good mix. Another one is Dune. The sound mix in the movie Dune, the new version of Dune, is excellent for tuning your sound system to make sure that, because they also have that whisper tone in some scenes, but making sure that that your dialogue isn't being overwhelmed by your ambient sound. And lastly, and again, there are others, but these are the ones that I use typically. The last one is the last Batman, that Robert Pattinson Batman. The movie has, it's a very rainy movie, and kind of like a Blade Runner, where the rain actually is a character in the movie itself. So it gives a very cinematic sound to the ambience because he's standing outside and you can actually hear the rain pat around the drops, pitter pat around you. Awesome movie for that. There are others, and I can make other recommendations as it goes, but those are my top three that I usually. Doctor Strange is my number one. I put that in first, and I use that to adjust my sound after I've done all the music stuff. Once you do that with this upgraded sounds, this center channel, I can assure you that you still may have times, being transparent, where you're going to have to turn your music up or turn the sound up so you can hear someone talk, because there are certain shows that is emphasized, the ambient is emphasized and such. But I'll tell you this, that you can reduce the amount of time you do that. You're going to have a better experience, not only with movies, not only with those premium channel shows, but also with sports. It improves the game watching experience because Fox, and particularly CBS, they actually pump in some lightweight ambience into their broadcast. That's another area where it's going to help. And there are other places, but those are the main ones where you really have that theatrical cinematic experience where you really want to play it up. And I'll tell you, some of it is going to vary also based on the streaming platform. Some streaming platforms are better than others. We were watching Bullet Train last night. Brad Pitt, excellent show, excellent movie, I should say. Great sound. Not really a sound kind of movie, audiophile type of movie, but it was good. And that was through YouTube, their movie selection. I usually buy them through there, and I have a service through Movies Anywhere, so I can watch it while I'm on the road if I purchase a movie through any other service there. Jurassic Park is another one from a sound perspective. Any of the Jurassic Parks, they kind of set the template for how modern sound mixes go. But as far as streaming services, Paramount Plus is one of the best, probably underrated as far as their soundscape. They have excellent sound and you can tell as soon as you turn on their sound, you have to turn your system down because they're pumping it in. Another one, of course, Disney Plus, particularly the Marvel and the Star Wars section. Excellent sound coming from those streaming services. HBO Max, great sound coming from those services. And I'll tell you, as of late, with their new commitment to television, with the Rings of Power, Amazon Prime, their sound mix has become one of the better ones with Wheel of Time and the Rings of Power. They really are coming on strong in that regard. So I just wanted to give you a brief update, give you some advice if you're having trouble like me. Yeah, I'm getting older, but it's not just that I'm getting older and I've been listening to loud music and movies for a long time. It is an actual phenomenon that is happening in modern music, in modern television, particularly premium television, and in modern movies where our dialogue has been accentuated down or attenuated down to almost a whisper, and it can be problematic. And people say, well, watch the movies at the movies. Yeah, number one, premium shows don't typically play in movie theaters, so that argument is moot. I can't watch, the House of Dragons at the movie theater every Saturday. That's number one. Number two, there are certain movies that I've watched in the theater and you're still leaning into the screen because they are talking at low dulcet tones. So those arguments are more bogus than not. So anyway, I just wanted to share this. Hope everybody has a great day. And I hope that you're able to, this helps you to enjoy your sound system a little bit better. If you do decide that you want to invest in one, and this is not an endorsement, I'm not getting paid by Polk, although Polk, holla at me. This is the XT35. And it was on sale at Best Buy. It's usually on sale at Best Buy and retails for like $300. But it was on sale when I bought it for $199. And I also saw it this week, which is October, the second week of October, if you're counting, in 2022. And it was on sale for $229. At last look. So I would highly recommend this one. There are others. Sony makes one, Klipsch makes one that has that multi-front sound bar-ish type of aesthetic. And I really recommend it for an upgrade to your center channel. Because again, your center channel for most everyday watching is doing most of the heavy lifting. And because of that, you want to make sure that it is properly accounted for in your sound system setup. A lot of people overlook it and they look at the subwoofer and they look at the surrounds. All that stuff's great, but this guy right here is going to do most of the heavy lifting in your day-to-day television watching, whether you're watching the news, sports, Grey's Anatomy, whatever it is that floats your boat, make your liver quiver. This particular component is going to do most of the heavy lifting day-to-day, low volume, high volume. So making a great investment there is going to help your viewing experience, because again, watching television, watching movies, watching premium channels, half of the experience is the sound. And if you don't have that right, or if you haven't experienced that part of it, you're missing out on a lot. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Thanks everybody for the time, and you have a great day. Bye.